Hi, I'm Nick and this is the TBT channel. This is just a little short video with an update on my GX CS3 pump, or possibly GS CX3 pump. No, I think it's GX CS3 pump, a PCP compressor that I bought a week or so ago now, and I've used it several times with my Reximex Meta Plus PCP air rifle, and it's working extremely well. Now, in the first video that I showed you this, I had a few people contact me and say you need to put an inline moisture filter on there. So I've ordered an inline moisture filter and it's arrived, so I'm going to give it a go, and I'm also going to have a look and see what's in here. So basically it's a blue thing that screws together that's very pretty, aluminium anodized blue, and we have a few little bits of sponge in there. Now what it is, obviously the issue can be we've got very high pressure air inside a steel bottle there, and if steel gets damp it can oxidize or rust, and that can lead to failure, and we don't want that. So it says on the back of the gun here, dry air only. Now bear with, we've currently got 40% humidity, so not particularly damp air, but what happens is when you compress air you create heat, and then when you decompress air it expands quickly and any moisture in it immediately turns into liquid. I don't know if you've seen that science experiment where you get a dome, a glass dome sealed, and you create, I think it's you create a vacuum and then you immediately bring it back so the pressure changes really fast. You get a little cloud inside of the dome. It's a similar kind of thing, but you get moisture, and what you find with this pump, you've got a moisture tube here for the water to come out of, but when you hit the bleed valve and open that, you get a rush of damp air, wet air, come out and hit you on the hand, and you think, oh, that's bad. But that's because it's all happening outside of the gun. There is supposed to be a moisture filter inside of this that takes out oil and moisture through this part here, something inside of it. I'm not taking this apart to do that, but you can never be too safe. So all this is a filter that the air's going to pass through with effectively cotton wool bits in between it. So what I'm going to do is the air is going to go in this side, out that side. So we want to check to see if there's any moisture at all inside of here, and if there is, we don't want it to be at this end of the device. Very simple. What else we've got in here? We've got lots of spare filters there, look, lots of spare filters, and we've got spare O-rings and things like that. I think I paid 20 odd euros for this. It wasn't expensive, and if it creates more safety for the gun, then it's worth every penny. So this is going to go in line here. So I take out my little bung and I pop him there. This goes onto the back of there and locks into place. I get my rifle. I remove my dust cap, put that with that one. In fact, look, they fit together. Keeps everything nice and clean and in one place. And then this attaches onto there now, like that. So now you can see we've got the blue thing stuck out the side of the gun. All groovy so far. The gun is currently at 120 bar, and I'm going to fill it to 250 bar. Get my cables out, plug my cables into my rectifier. It's a rectifier, not a whatever it was I called it last time. What is it? When you're going from DC to AC, it's an inverter. But when you're going from AC to DC, it's a rectifier. Sorry about that. I made that mistake in the last one. A few of you pointed it out. I did feel silly, but not that silly. It's only a word. Don't matter. Don't mean nothing. Positive to positive, negative to negative, funk to funky. Get my plug and my extension cord. When I plug this in, the fan should start on this piece. Thusly. Now, I look at my top dial. I check it is set for 250 bar. I close the bleed valve. Switch the unit on. Fans are working. And press start. And away we go. Now, we're having to pressurize the moisture collector, the filter, as well as the pipe. So it's going to take longer for it to get up to the 120 bar and reach equilibrium with the gum. And I'll tell you when it's done that, when the needle stops. There we go. The needle has stopped. We are now filling the gum. The pump itself will turn off automatically when it reaches the 250 bar. Everything seems to be working well. So now we wait. Ah, there we go. Right. First things first, depressurise the system. Actually got moisture on the table there from that. Switch that off. Now, it's good practice to leave that to run for a few minutes to cool the motor. But the air coming out isn't hot anyway, so I'm going to switch that off. And now I'm going to switch off the rectifier. And piece has returned. So I don't know if you sort of even heard me tell you when I opened that valve there, I've got a little damp patch on the table there, just where moisture came out of that pipe onto the table. That's what, if it's coming through, will stop it or reduce the amount getting through to the gum. So, ouch, that's my bad shoulder. What I'm actually going to do is just clear the decks a little bit here so that I can turn the gun around, take that off of there, and I'm going to remove it off of the pump as well. So we'll put that to one side there, the pump to one side here just to give me a bit of space, although before I go any further I'm going to put my dust cap, ouch, onto there. Now somebody did ask me if I can make the 44 Magnum dust caps, and I expect I can. I might do. If enough people want them, I might make a few up. Right, so here is my inline moisture filter. The most important one is this one up closest to the output. Now I'm going to use my lip to check for moisture because that's the most sensitive part of your skin. Well, nearly, but that's all you're getting, and that is absolutely bone dry. That's good. Next, I shall remove one of my sponges, and that again is bone dry. There is another one. Him and dry too. Another one. No, that's dry. I was thinking, oh, is that moist dry detect? But no, it's dry. It just felt a little cool. Another one. Bone dry, that's 4. And that's the last one. This is the first filter that anything gets to, and that is absolutely bone dry. So that is with the temperature 26 degrees, 40 degrees humidity, and it was about 10 minutes from 120 bar up to 250 bar. Lots of moisture came out of the pump, so it would appear the pump is doing its job. It would appear the filter in the pump is doing its job to stop the moisture getting through, because I can detect no moisture at all on these. Now, you could conclude from that this isn't necessary. I would disagree. I'm going to say right here and right now, 20 odd euros, I think it was 22 euros, 22 euros, you put that on there, it's peace of mind. I know that everything's working. I know I haven't put any moisture inside of this gun when I've used it previously. But by checking this each and every single time, I will also know that everything is working as it should. And keeping an eye on things and looking for signs that something is amiss is the way to stop things going wrong catastrophically. So that is it. My conclusion is you can buy much more expensive ones than this. You can spend over £100 on one. And if your compressor is a compressor that does not have an inbuilt filter on it already, that could be a good investment. If you can afford it, it's probably a good investment anyway, but I wanted to see how effective a cheap one was. And I can't tell you because my pump's too good. Like, subscribe, hit notifications. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all again next time. Goodbye.